Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
This is the scene of the crime. A crime of passion, filmed in a way you have never seen before, and as no one else would dare attempt. But the screen's master of suspense, the producer-director who shocked the world with Psycho. This is the apartment of a man named Jeffries, a news photographer whose beat used to be the world. Right now, his world has shrunk down to the size of this window. He's been watching the people across the way. Nobody seems to pull their blinds during a hot spell like this. He knows a lot about them by now. Too much, perhaps. For instance, down there on the second floor, the woman pacing about. He calls her Miss Lonely Hearts. So lonely that even death seems like a friend. These are the newlyweds, on a honeymoon no one will ever forget. He calls her Miss Hearing Aid, an artist of a very odd and strange art. The songwriter who plays the same melody over and over again. A genius or insane? This is the traveling salesman and his invalid wife. Out of their arguments and nagging comes a weird kind of love. Miss Torso, the body beautiful. That is, viewed from a safe distance.
Those are just a few of my neighbors. First I watched them just to kill time, but then I couldn't take my eyes off them, just as you won't be able to.
And you won't be able to take your eyes off the glowing beauty of Grace Kelly, who shares the heart and curiosity of James Stewart in this story of a romance shadowed by the terror of a horrifying secret.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and today I have a very special guest in here with me. No, it's not Kyle. It's the triumphant return of...
Terence.
I'm
back,
Actually,
baby.
Kyle is playing the part of Terence today and not here. So speedy recovery, Kyle. He's dealing with some stuff. So I figured I'd bring in a guest host. So it's good to have Terence back. This is episode 84. We'll be talking about one of Sir Alfred Hitchcock's...
It's kind of fitting that I'm back for this one. I've been there for all the other Hitchcock movies. So.
Right. Rear Window. But before we get started, there's a couple of things we'd like to say. First off, if you haven't heard and haven't been part of our Facebook page, we will be doing a live show, live podcast in the Indianapolis area on July 16th, 2022 with our good friends Hillbilly Horror Stories. And kind of a newer podcast, but good friends now, Todd Hedges, Sean, and the other guy, Nate. for Middle Aged and Creeped Out podcast. So if you haven't listened to them, please go give them a listen. And I'm going to go ahead and drop Todd sent me his promo for their podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it in right here.
Hey guys, this is Todd, Sean, and Nate, and we are from the Middle Aged and Creeped Out podcast. We drop full episodes every Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and our Middle Aged mini episodes drop on Saturday afternoons at 3 o'clock.
And if you enjoy discussions about the paranormal, weird, unexplained, and just plain creepy, then check out our show. You can find us however you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like what you hear, don't hesitate to give us a 5-star rating and review. Telling a friend, family member, or even a coworker about us helps the show.
And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Middle Aged and Creeped Out. And our TikTok is @Mako Podcast, and that's with 2 A's.
Well, Nate, what do you think?
That's the end of our promo, and that's a wrap.
Well, there you go. So until next time, creepies, Nate is your sound engineer. We are your hosts, Todd and Sean.
And they are middle-aged and creeped out. Keep it creepy.
So there you have it. That's our good friends now, Todd, Sean, and Nate from Middle Aged and Creeped Out. So, Terence, so we're going to give you the questions.
Let's do it.
If you were stuck in a cast like poor Jimmy Stewart in this movie, I don't even know where to go with this. I mean, it's just such a weird movie, but such a good movie.
What would you do? Well, I'll tell you what I wouldn't be doing. Solving a murder.
I wouldn't be. You sit back and you see this movie, and you see him staring out the window, and you're like, this guy's a creep. Like a peeping Tom.
I think that's what's interesting is every movie Hitchcock's doing something to pull the audience in one direction or another, and in this particular one, it's by letting you draw your own conclusions as you watch this guy watch everyone.
It definitely has a weird feel to it because this is the first time I watched it. I think I watched it a long time ago, and it used to be in black and white if I remember.
Really?
But I watched it in color,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of different. So let's just go ahead and jump into this and get going.
All right. Rear Window, release date September 1st, 1954. Interestingly enough, this is rated PG.
Yeah, I mean, there's
nothing.
Nothing. Everything's basically insinuated off screen. Nothing's
actually shown.
Right.
Its budget only $1 million. So very, very small budget, and that's an estimate. Maybe
but
$1 million.
But if you look at it, they're not really having to move a lot of sets and everything.
It's the same set, actually.
I've
seen pictures of it.
It's
online.
the entire set, and the way it's set up is, I think it's in my notes somewhere, but I think there's 16 hotel rooms, and 2 or 3 of them actually had functioning water, electricity, and all that stuff. Where the lady, I forget her name, the one that's the dancer.
Oh, yeah, the ballerina.
Or not the ballerina, whatever she is.
Yeah. I thought that maybe they said that at one point. But mismemory.
She actually lived in her apartment during takes. Like, she'd take a nap and eat and all that, And but he made it a little bit bigger, so the bottom floor, like the courtyard, is actually the basement of the studios, because he had to tear it out because it was so tall in the house. So
if you get a chance, go online and look up Rear Window set pictures. It was really cool seeing the set they put together, that whole setup.
Miss Torso, I think her name was Miss Torso.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny too.
Right. So we have domestic box office, $27.5 million. So it made well more than its budget back. International only made $31.1 thousand. So pretty much ending at $27.5 million. Still a lot of money made for something that was made for only $1 million. That still blows my mind. Like, you couldn't even nowadays a small indie film pushes over $1 million usually.
And I think a large part of the cost too, I do believe, was the lights.
Yeah.
Because they could take it from full day to full night. I think they said in 45 minutes. and I'll get to it in my notes. There's some interesting stuff about the lights too. So
nice. So we have the box office of 1954. This is a bit of an older movie, so there's no actual box office for the month, but I was at least able to find it for the year. I don't know, some of the even older ones we can't even find the year. So this one I have the year, and this one's interesting. At number 1, we have White Christmas. Number 2, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Number 3, Demetrius and the Gladiators. Number 4, we have Rear Window. So it was the number 4 movie of that year. Number 5, we have the Caine Mutiny. And number 6, Gone with the Wind.
Now, Gone with the Wind was actually released, wasn't it, in 1939? So is this a re-release?
So it would have to be a re-release. I don't think it was remade.
No.
This was directed by, obviously, Alfred Hitchcock. And so down the line of, the other movies that we've covered of his, we've done Psycho, North by Northwest, and Vertigo. And so this will be our 4th Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Psycho, North by Northwest.
And Vertigo.
Yep.
Yeah. Writing credits goes to John Michael Hayes. So some of his notable ones, To Catch a Thief, The Man Who Knew Too Much, and The Trouble with Harry. Then we have Cornell Woodrich, who also helped in the writing. This one, he also helped write like The Window, Original Sin, and Fallen Angels. Music by Franz Waxman, who's also done music for Sunset Boulevard, Rebecca, The Bride of Frankenstein, and Suspicion. Director of photography, Robert Burks, who also did the camera work for Vertigo, To Catch a Thief, and Strangers on a Train. And film editing, George Tomasini helped editing on North by Northwest, The Time Machine, Marine, and Vertigo. And this was also produced by Hitchcock himself. I no other producers, so he directed and produced this one himself.
You ever wonder how much money Hitchcock made in his career?
It must have been a lot.
I mean, but I just said we'll have to dive into that on our next Hitchcock episode. See,
enough to come in drunk on ads that he's recording and get away with it. At a certain point, you're just so famous and you make enough that you just.
Oh, it's Hitchcock.
Yeah. Technical specs. We got a runtime of 1 hour and 52 minutes, almost pushing 2 hours. It actually makes pretty good use of its time. Even like the credits in the beginning, it's sort of like starting to tell the story of like you're looking at the all the building complexes and you're kind of getting a glimpse of everybody's life just right at the get-go. And it pretty much ends when the movie ends. So
I have a question. Does anybody not believe in curtains in this or blinds? I mean, because every windows are just wide open. You know what I mean? Except the one. They have the one guy to like true. He looks out to his left. It's always shut. You know what I mean?
They did mention that it was so hot, and I guess nobody had AC.
Like the couple that sleeps out on the catwalk or whatever it is.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what is going on there?
The dog in the basket that they would always pull up.
Excuse me. This movie is in color. Sound mix mono, Western Electric recording. And now as far as like the movie, I didn't see a black and white version because there are 3 different Rear Windows. There's the Alfred Hitchcock movie. There was a TV movie. And then there was a small television series of Rear Window.
It's in my notes. I read it.
Yeah.
I'll have to.
So I wonder if maybe it was one of those that decided to do like just sort of a artist decision, making it black and white or something like that.
But also the editing aspect of it, where they're taking the flash bulbs and then it has that orange,
Yeah. That was a really cool effect they did at the end.
Yeah, because if you've ever been in the dark and done that, it's exactly how you feel.
Pretty
like
much.
Right, orange line.
Aspect ratio, we're looking at 1.37 by 1. Original ratio, but the intended ratio was supposed to be 1.66 by 1. Cameras used in this was a Mitchell B&C and a Bosch and Lomb Balter lenses. Laboratory, this was edited in Technicolor Hollywood, USA. Film length, 12 reels. negative format 35 millimeter, Eastman 25T. Cinematographic process, spherical, printed film format, 35 millimeter. And it's been a while, so I think probably in the next 2 episodes or so.
In the next 2 years, when Terence makes his return.
I'm going to circle back to talking about cinematographic process, and I might go a little deeper, just so people know what we're talking about when I mention that in particular. And printed, did I say it? Yeah, printed film format, 35 millimeter.
All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into the cast real quick. I see Terence has some extra notes today. So this is obviously a Hitchcock film starring James Stewart as L.B. Jeff Jeffries. You may notice him from a movie we just did a few weeks ago, Shenandoah. Vertigo we've done. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This also stars the famous and beautiful and talented Grace Kelly as Lisa Carol Fremont. You may remember her from Dial M for Murder and To Catch a Thief. Wendell Corey as NYPD Detective Lieutenant Tom J. Doyle. Thelma Ritter as Stella. Raymond Burr as Lars Thorwald. Do you know who Raymond Burr was?
He looks familiar.
He was Perry Mason on the TV show. You probably don't know who Perry Mason was, do you?
No.
He was a lawyer, black and white TV show lawyer back in the day. He also played Steve Martin in the Godzilla movies.
Okay.
Godzilla 84, and I've seen another one. He was also Ironsides. Judith Evelyn as Miss Lonely Hearts. She was in The Tingler from 1959, I think that says, or 859, I do believe. Ross Bagdasarian as the songwriter. He was actually the writer for the new Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. He was also did the soundtrack, or in the soundtrack for Almost Famous and The Fate of the Furious, for all you Fast and the Furious friends. Georgine Darcy as Miss Torso. Sarah Berner and Frank Cady as the couple living above the Thorwalds with their dog. R.I.P. Jessalyn Fax as Miss Hearing Aid. Rand Harper and Havis Davenport as the newlyweds. Irene Winston as Mrs. Anna Thorwald. So there's also some uncredited cast. But also, yes, just like Alfred Hitchcock always does, he does have a cameo in this movie. Did you spot him, Terrence?
I didn't. Where does he pop
He is around between the 25 and the 26 minute mark, where he is seen winding a clock in one of the apartment windows. I think it's the musician, the songwriters.
Oh, okay.
He's winding the clock, and he turns around. And you may not have noticed him because for this film, he had lost about 150 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So he's looking pretty young and dapper, and they say he was like at the happiest of his life during this movie. So pretty interesting facts about Alfred Hitchcock.
In a different section, but still my favorite part, the awards. So we have Academy Awards USA 1955. Just nominations. So we got Oscar nomination for Best Director, Best Writing Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Sound. BAFTA 1955, once again, just a nomination for Best Film Score of any source. Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, USA 2013. They were nominated for a Saturn for Best DVD Blu-ray Collection, and this is just the overall Hitchcock collection.
Yeah.
We have Cherise du Cinema, 1955. They were nominated for Best Film. Directors Guild of America, USA 1955, nominated for a DGA Award for Outstanding Directional Achievement in Motion Pictures. DVD Exclusive Awards, 2001. Video Premiere Award, Best Original Retrospective Documentary. Interesting. An Edgar Allan Poe Award, 1955. They did win an Edgar for Best Motion Picture. Las Vegas Film Critics Social Awards. Sorry, Society Awards. Yeah. My mind was in two different places. Special Achievement Award for James C. Katz and Robert A. Harris. I am on the... Okay, yep. I was just like, let me make sure I'm on the right... This is the correct Rear Window before I keep reading them off.
That would be the ultimate Terrence thing to do. That or, the Schindler List Awards. That's an inside joke if you listen to the podcast.
All right.
Did it ever get into the National Film Registry?
It did, actually. So I was on the Edgar Allan Poe. Las Vegas Film Critics Society Awards, so Special Achievement Award winner. National Board Review, USA 1954, NBR Award for Best Actress, Grace Kelly. National Film Preservation Board, USA. So it hit the National Film Preservation Board in 1997.
So 33 years afterwards?
Yeah. So pretty much, I think right on when it was eligible, it popped up in there.
Or 43 years ago. Something like that. 54 to 97.
It's too early to math.
Yeah, I think it's 43.
New York Film Critics Circle Awards. NYFCC Award for Best Actress, Grace Kelly. Online Film and Television Association, 2002. It won a OFTA Film Hall of Fame. Motion Picture. Nominated for a Satellite Award. Once again, it's just the DVD collection. And then we're wrapping up with Venice Film Festival, 1954. A Golden Lion nominated.
Oh.
But that's a new cool sounding award, right? And then
not as cool as the Shmoo.
Writers Guild of America, the very last one, USA 1955. It was nominated for a WGA award, Best Written American Drama. So interestingly, it didn't win too terribly much, but it was nominated for a handful.
Well, interesting
awards.
enough, there's no award in there for James Stewart. The main
That's
actor.
true.
It was
Yeah.
all Grace Kelly, if you look at it.
That is very true.
Very interesting. So here we go. Let's talk about some of the fun, cool stuff that happened in this movie or on set. So, if you're, according to Miss Torso, do you remember the man and woman on the fire escape that trying to get out of the rain? And they're facing Jeff's rear window. Hitchcock was in Jeff's apartment for the entire time because it was the only one that had all the light controls and all that in there too.
Yeah.
But the man and the woman were wearing earpieces, and when they were trying to move that mattress, he told one to pull one way and one to pull the other way. So the struggle you see him doing is he left it in there.
Struggle.
He was like, "This is hilarious." So. He thought it was Hitchcock has a sense of humor, but they said he was so pleased with that result that he wasn't going to take it out of the movie, so I thought that was pretty funny. The film negative was damaged considerably as a result of color dye fading as early as the 1960s. Nearly all of the yellow images dyes had faded. Despite fears that the film had been irrevocably damaged, preservation experts were able to restore the film nearly to its original condition.
Oh, wow.
So...
and here's an interesting fact on the set. So, as we talked about before, it was shot entirely in Paramount Studios on one set, where the set was enormous. It was, the entire apartment block for Stuart's Neighbors that was built, offered, intentionally or not, an image of the world. And here's a little bit from Hitchcock. He says, it shows every kind of human behavior, a real index of individual behavior. The picture would have been very dull if we hadn't done that. What we see across the way is a group of little stories that you say mirror a small universe. So that was a little bit of an interesting fact that I found.
Well, and I think it's also very interesting that all the different windows that he's looking into, Jeff, we'll call him Jeff,
yeah.
Is that all of those could go back to what he's wanted to accomplish in his life. You got the newlyweds,
That's true, yeah.
It's very interesting. We'll get to some of that later here in a minute. Alfred Hitchcock gave Georgine Darcy free range to choreograph her own dance moves. She was the weird one that was just like dancing in her bra and panties in front of the thing, He said his only stipulation was she was not allowed to take any dance lessons. He wanted to maintain the precision of the amateur dancer. So I thought that was pretty funny. In Cornell Woolrich's short story on which this movie is based, it's not revealed until the very last line that the hero has a broken leg. So that'd be very interesting too. Like, is this guy just a creep just looking out the window?
I know, right?
What I as Terence said, the entire movie was shot on one set. The apartment courtyard set measured 98 feet wide, 185 feet long, and 40 feet high, and consisted of 31 apartments, 8 of which were completely furnished. The courtyard was set 20 to 30 feet below stage level, and some of the buildings were the equivalent of 5 or 6 stories high. Wow. So this movie was actually shot really quickly after Dial M for Murder, from November 27, 1953 to January 13, 1954. So basically a 2-month movie, month and a half to shoot this movie, which, if you're not changing sets, should be...
That's true.
That hard,
I imagine most of the difficulties with this movie were technical.
Yeah, it was only a month because of the very next thing I have is during the month-long shoot, Miss Torso lived in her apartment all day, which I said relaxing between takes as if she was really at home. So, as I said, Alfred Hitchcock worked in Jeff's apartments. The actors and actresses in other apartments wore flesh-colored earpieces so that he could radio his directions to them. So it's pretty interesting, too. I mean, if he's over here and they're way over there.
Yeah.
And something you may have in your notes, I don't know. I didn't do a deep dive in it, but they're saying, like, the camera that he used to spy on him, remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They were saying that he wouldn't be able to move it around that easily without a tripod. It was a camera that's usually on a tripod. And the way he was just moving around or something, he shouldn't have been able to do that.
I imagine it's part of the issue that it with a lens that long, you need more time to focus, so you wouldn't just be able to swing it around willy-nilly.
He almost used like a telescope. All the apartments I guess it's all the apartments in the building had electricity and running water, and they all could be lived in, so that's pretty cool. This is the only movie in which Grace Kelly is actually seen holding a cigarette, although she doesn't actually smoke on screen. She's a non-smoker, and in all of her movies, she had refused to smoke.
So I actually have more addition to that. So that was one of Grace Kelly's rules, was to not be filmed smoking in a movie. And so Hitchcock had to find a trick to show her smoking. So here the editing makes an entrance with basically a super clever cut where you perceive Grace Kelly smoking while she's actually just getting ready to light a cigarette to her lips before, and then holds the cigarette in her fingers afterwards. So she never actually is smoking. You just see the before shot and then her holding a cigarette.
And I'm kind of wondering if she even said anything like, I don't even want to do this, you know what I mean? Because it's still given the appearance that if it was in her contract or whatever. So
another really, this was a pretty funny fact I found about Grace Kelly. So James Stewart's wife, Gloria, was very, very concerned about her husband filming with Grace Kelly.
Well, when I think Jimmy Stewart was 44 in this movie, and she's only 25.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So she wasn't only one of the most beautiful women in the world with a bright career, but she also had a history of affairs with her partners on set. Almost insane for the situation. Stewart's wife spent all of her time to keep an eye on her husband.
Yeah, well. 1,000 arc lights were used to simulate sunlight. Thanks to extensive pre-lighting on the set, the crew could make the change from day to night in under 45 minutes. Now, Terence, when they say 1,000 arc lights, what does that mean?
I could not tell you. Lighting is a world, like audio is a world of its own. Like, I know the basis of it, but to go in depth, I would actually have to look it up and look into it. And you know what? If we go over like a movie that heavily extensively uses set lighting, maybe I can do a little deep technical dive into lighting.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to find out. This movie was unavailable for 3 decades because its rights, together with 4 other Hitchcock movies from the same period, were brought back by Sir Alfred Hitchcock and left as part of his legacy to his daughter. They've been known for long as the infamous 5 Lost Hitchcocks among movie buffs, and were re-released in theaters around 1984 after a 30-year absence. The others are The Man Who Knew Too Much, Rope, The Trouble with Harry, and Vertigo. However, prior to the theatrical re-release in the 1980s, the movie was televised once in 1971 on ABC, although the network technically did not have the legal right to do so.
And interestingly enough, speaking of Lost, the character Lisa, played by Grace Kelly, the girlfriend and the one of Stella, Thelma Ritter, the nurse.
She was funny.
Oh yeah, she's great. So they were not included in the original short story. In fact, the movie is based on It Had to Be a Murder, Cornell Woolrich, that's been adapted for the screen by John Michael Hayes.
And it's actually based on a true story, which I'll get to in my notes.
Yeah, there's I have some notes as well. There's two particular things that I'll just shout out mine. So the rumor was it was based on another true story that inspired Hitchcock. That is to say, an affair between a war photographer, Robert Capa, and an actress, Ingrid Bergman. The theory is based on the fact that Hitchcock was an eyewitness because at the first time Ingrid Bergman was filming Notorious with him, James Stewart's character has a couple more details in common with Capa, like that they both lived in the borough of Greenwich Village.
So here it is. The movie was inspired in part by the real-life murder case of Patrick Mahon, M-A-H-O-N. In 1924 in Sussex, England, Mahon murdered his pregnant mistress, Emily Kay, and dismembered her body. In the modern interview, Sir Alfred Hitchcock claimed that Mahon threw the body parts out of a train window piece by piece and burned the head in his fireplace. Another modern source, however, states that Mahon quartered the body and stored it in a large trunk, then removed internal organs, putting some in biscuit tins and a hat box, and boiling others on the stove.
Wow.
So, if anybody wants to look into the murderer Patrick Mahon, that'd be very interesting from 1924. So
yeah, it happened 1910 and 1924, both in England.
Yeah.
There's two murder cases. There was, as we can read in a book, Hitchcock by Francis Tufart, so I guess the other one would be in there. The screenplay was enriched with two real murder cases. Crime news found in the press happened in 1910 and 1924. So that was the 1924 one. I don't know about the 1910 murder, but this particular movie was based off both those murder, which is very interesting.
Very, very interesting. So, as we said, a higher ceiling was required because of this enormous set where Hitchcock had to tear out the entire floor of the studio, revealing the basement. So James Stewart has stated that of the 4 Hitchcock movies that he made, that this one was his favorite that he worked on, personally.
Yeah, you don't have to do much.
This is a cool little Easter egg. One of the photographs on the wall of Jeff's apartment is a photograph of him standing in front of an aircraft during World War II. Mr. Stewart served active duty as a U.S. Army Air Forces pilot during the war, flying missions as a B-24 pilot.
Oh, wow.
According to Georgine Darcy, we get a lot of our stuff from her. She must have been like to talk a lot. So there were 4 separate lighting settings for this movie, which were meant to replicate morning, or early morning, afternoon, late evening, and night. She also noticed that for some of the settings, the heat from the lights were nearly unbearable for the actors and actresses on the top floor of the apartment buildings.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, it gets real hot real quick.
Just being on a regular movie set that isn't completely ran by a bunch of what I imagine are really big, powerful lights. Sets are hot, man. And it's because of the lighting. So I imagine, it would be really rough for those on the top floors really close to the lighting.
You even see them, like, when they're shooting outside, they still have the fake lights out there sometimes, too. You know what I mean? Just to brighten it up. So, cinematographer Robert Burks devised a system using a camera with a telephoto lens mounted on a crane to bring the camera close enough to film small details through the windows across the courtyard. So they were very improvising along the way with how they shot this film as well. The original trailer for this movie apparently does not exist. Only a reissue trailer can be found on the DVD. So, the book that Lisa is reading at the end is an actual book, Beyond the High Himalayas by Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas.
Before she puts it down and picks up a copy of The Bazaar.
Jeff comments to Stella that when he gets married, it will be to somebody who thinks of life not just as a new dress and a lobster dinner and the latest scandal. Later, however, when Lisa's introduced, she arrives in a new dress with a lobster dinner and relates several of the latest scandals to Jeff. So, it's very funny.
I really didn't like his character at first because, like,
I don't think nobody did.
Because, like, I was
how
like,
long,
wow.
had he been in that cast already? Was it like 6 weeks or something?
I think so, yeah. Well, she was coming up on the end of it.
Yeah, she was like a couple more days or so.
But, like, you can tell just in the scenes, and it's very well, acted and everything, but, she loves him, and you can tell in her way, and she's doing everything she can to, like, showcase that, and he's just being so salty about it.
But then again, you don't really know that she does that because she talks about all the other guys and everything, too, so you don't really know she loves him, you know what I mean? Basically, she plays off like he's just another one of the guys to her, because because he's like, oh, well, and she's like, well, I can just leave and go to another, guy or whatever. Yeah. At the time, this set was the largest indoor set ever built at Paramount Picture Studios. Let's see, this is ranked in 2007 by the AFI as the 48th greatest movie of all time.
Check another one off the box.
Yep. This was Franz Waxman's final score for Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Grace Kelly actually celebrated one of her birthdays on the set, November 12th, 1953. The $1,100 dress Lisa wears, the black bodice with the white skirt, would be around $11,000 in 2021.
Oh, wow.
So, Terence, that sweatshirt you're wearing is probably in 2042 still be worth $10. Right. Inflation, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, the camera work from... This is one of the Hitchcockisms or whatever, where he falls from the window.
Yeah.
You see it in North by Northwest, too, the famous fall. So terrible, it's good. The flash that Jeffrey uses is the same type of unit that would be used as the body of Luke Skywalker's prop lightsaber in Star Wars: A New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Stewart was 46. Grace Kelly was only 25 when this movie was made. Playing the part of the man who sleeps on the mattress on the fire escape is Frank Caddy, better known as likable Sam Drucker from the TV series Petticoat Junction and Green Acres. During the opening of this film, at about 23 seconds in, as the camera leaves Jeff's apartment and follows a cat for a moment across the courtyard, and then when it tilts upward and pans to the left towards the top apartments, you see a mysterious flash of light for a moment in one of the top windows, possibly the Bathing Beauty's apartment. Strangely enough, this apartment is never mentioned in the film or the flash explained.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, "Are we going to come back to that?" Or
and what was up with the one couple that was like right next door to him, or what? The one, and the guy was always out there smoking. They were always arguing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. So to determine what kind of special effects to employ for the flash the light bulb scenes or the camera bulbs, when Thorwald's coming in there to kill him. That the crew members waited in a dark room and they had somebody come in and then they described everybody what they saw, and that's what they came up with. So
that's
very interesting. So Terrence, give me your thoughts on the Rear Window.
So Rear Window. This was my first time watching this particular Hitchcock movie, whereas the others I've seen before, watched at some of them a second time, a third time. This was my first viewing, and it was a very interesting movie. Overall, super enjoyed it. Great movie. You do kind of, like we were talking about before, you do kind of feel weird when you're first watching it, because the whole movie, it's a very like voyeuristic movie. So you're watching in the perspective of this character who's just watching all of his neighbors, and then where he's watching with ease, just due to probably his profession and stuff like that. He's constantly observing, looking for like a good shot, pictures, whatever, whatnot, and he's bored. But just as like an individual, even though you're just watching a movie, it still feels awkward to like watch these people's lives through their window and not have them know. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. And like I was talking about before, Hitchcock does this thing where he strings you along for you to think one thing and then slowly turns it into another. Because for a good chunk of the movie, you don't know whether that guy was a murderer or not. Mm-hmm. And he throws a couple, things in there for you to be like, well, maybe this guy's just going crazy while he's just cooped up in his apartment and he's, drawing conclusions where there's none to be drawn. So particularly when you see the scene with him and talking with Detective Doyle, you almost kind of side with Doyle a little bit, but you also want to side with the protagonist to be like, well, maybe he is right, but maybe not, because there's not enough here to say so. And And even with the some of the neighbors he's watching, like the dancer, for example, the protagonist immediately starts thinking she's like promiscuous and stuff, where she's not. There's a couple other assumptions of like the happy couple, and it turns out they're not. Mm-hmm. And so it's very, very cool how he just kind of strings the audience along into thinking one thing and then subjecting almost all of those expectations and then turning everything into something else.
I thought it was funny too, like the dancing lady, you're thinking, oh, this lady, she might be a lady of the night or something. The way she just, flaunts at everything. And then you see her, I guess it's her boyfriend or husband come on. He's a military guy, short little guy, nerd with glasses. And he's like, "Hey baby, what's in the fridge?" They go both right over the fridge. I'm hungry. And then you actually feel for some of the other characters, like the lonely Miss Lonely Hearts, I think's her name.
Yeah.
Remember the scene where she's actually over there, trying to set up the table, pouring key and laughing and all that other stuff. And they come to find out, he's watching her and she's taking those pills or whatever. You know what I mean? So you feel for that lady.
Well, like at the end, she was pretty much saved by music,
right?
Because she was ready to. The nurse caught on to it too, because they were about to call the police to go save her, because she was about to take too many sleeping pills.
And then you had the musicians playing. You had the newlywed couple. You had the Thor waltz. You just have a bunch of different ways of life. And it was very fun to get entwined with it because, and then if you remember, Jimmy Stewart would be watching out of his window, and then he would like fall asleep, and then he'd wake up, and then they're all doing something else, then he would fall asleep. Like especially when he's trying to figure out if he murdered the murderer or not, and then he'd fall asleep. Then you only get little chunks and pieces because there's time has lapsed, and you don't know what happened
exactly.
And then you have the whole scenario of the nurse and Grace Kelly's character sneaking over there to see if they can find any clues and everything, and then he comes back home, and then they say, "Hey, you guys need to go down and get the the cop," and then Thorwald actually comes into his room, and you're like, "Oh man, this is
right." That was an intense scene,
right?
And that's another thing I want to really highlight is the acting in this movie is phenomenal, especially for the type of movie that heavily relies on it. Not to say any other movie does, but because we're not using, we don't have different set changes and all this other stuff, and we're pretty much we are in the room except for when he falls. That's the only time the really camera perspective changes. Other than that, we're always in his apartment. Mm-hmm. And so the acting really just pulls through, and you never feel bored by the same sort of setting the whole entire movie.
And I didn't know how I was going to feel by being stuck in the same position this entire 2-hour movie. You know what I mean? But it doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie.
It doesn't, no.
No, because it's a Hitchcock film. Of course, he's always going to throw stuff in there. So and each apartment across the way has something going on in it that you want to know what's going on. You know what I mean? So very good movie. It's definitely worth a watch or own for me.
This is definitely, I definitely recommend this one in particular. I even want to put it up to it's like a light thriller movie in a way.
I would say mystery thriller.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a horror movie.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a
mystery thriller for sure.
Definitely.
And if those two types are up your alley, then this movie's definite. But overall, like I said, it's a recommended at least a one-time watch movie. I really enjoyed it.
And what I like about this movie is it shows the how great of an actor Jimmy Stewart was, because he can go from a western to this, and then to North by Northwest. It just he can encompass it all, man. That's why he's one of my favorites of all time. It just doesn't get much better than him. So. Well, if you like what you heard, you can find us out on the Tragedy of Cinema Podcast Facebook group chat, or Facebook group. We always have a lot of fun and post crazy stuff in there. Hopefully, Terence will make another appearance
I definitely
on a regular basis now. Hopefully, he sets his alarm to make the live show on July 16th. So, one of these days you'll have all three of the hosts back in here. But it's nice when at least one of the other guys can make it when the other one can't. That's why we brought Kyle in, too, because Terence will start a new job and everything. So, it's still nice to be putting out product, even if it's not with the whole team. It's still getting out there. So, hope you guys are enjoying this is getting close to the new year because we record these earlier So if it's not the new year, we hope you have a happy new year coming up. If it is after the year, welcome to the new year.
Are we showcasing our next episode, what we're doing next?
Well, there is 2 that we might be doing. Well, we'll probably record 2 the next time we talk. The next one I think we're going to do is we usually don't do anything 20 years or sooner because we want to make sure, it's a classic by that time. But there is one thing that we have never done on this podcast, and I think this is the perfect one to introduce it to this podcast because of the man's legacy, because of his life. And we will be covering the documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is the documentary on Mr. Fred Rogers' life. I grew up with Mr. Rogers. I'm sure Terence has seen Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Terence might not even know who Mr. Rogers is, but yeah, we wanted to make sure we cover that. And I really want Kyle to be here for that one. So it's either going to be that, or we're going to dive into our first ever Bond.
Oh, okay.
James Bond.
I came back at the right time.
With Dr. No. So it'll be one of those 2. I'm not sure exactly which one, but those will probably be the next 2 that we actually officially do.
Also, it's December. So in the comments, let's bring back the age-old argument. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Well, Terrence, by the time this releases, since you haven't been here for this, our Christmas episode will already be out. And Kyle and I did cover Die Hard for our Christmas episode this year.
I saw that, yeah.
And we will, I'm not going to give anything away because it's already been given away. But just remember, folks, don't let your friends think that Die Hard's a Christmas movie at this point. Well, I think we've rattled on long enough. It's great to have Terrence back. So with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut. Is it just me?